Thank you very much, and thank you also to the India Pharmaceutical Alliance for inviting EDQM to speak here and participate to this very interesting event. Before starting, I would like to say that the period we have just gone through and we are still living has been a period of challenges, but also of opportunities. We all had to look at things from different perspectives, to search for different ways of doing things, and also to try and think outside of the box. This is what led EDQM to deploy this pilot project on real-time inspections. Next slide, please. Thank you. Next. Thank you. Next, please. Thanks. As you know, EDQM has a program of on-site inspections, which is the traditional inspection approach, and EDQM inspects about 40 sites per year. But we also have a paper-based GMP assessment where we assess via distant assessment, desktop assessment, the GMP compliance of sites, normally based on inspections performed by our partners, international partners. And this assessment has been up and running since 2010. Now, recently, at the end of last year, we started this pilot project, which is we called Real-Time Remote Inspections. And we have done the first inspections by the end of last year and beginning of this year. Next slide, please. Why did we decide to start this? So we thought, first of all, travel restrictions, because this was the main trigger. There is a pandemic situation, some safety concerns in destination countries, etc. But then we started thinking further, and we thought maybe this could be also potential regular process for sites which in the past were inspected and were found compliant. So maybe this could be used in this case. And additionally, could also be a potential process to verify the implementation of specific parts of a CAPA plan, for example, if necessary, or in case some urgent GMP evaluation could be needed, for example, a specific topic, in case Artemis would not replace an on-site inspections, but would allow an immediate assessment of a specific topic if urgent. I always use this term potential because we are still in a pilot project. So we will see what happens. We still need some experience. Next, please. We started defining how this process should work. This happened last year when we understood that we would not travel for a little while. We understood that the preparation of an inspection could be more complex because we had to speak with the company to be inspected, also about technical solutions, software, hardware, and also connection trials would be necessary. Because we would need to test the web conference tools and the connectivity in the manufacturing areas. Also, we were aware that inspectors might need to review a larger number of documents prior to the inspections in order to be able to save time during the actual inspection. For the conduct, we didn't foresee big differences from a normal on-site inspection. There will be always an opening meeting, discussion of documents reviewed before, the revision of documents together with the company during the inspection. Then we would go around the manufacturing area, and if needed, the daily wrap-up could be done, and a closing meeting with presentations of observations, if any. Next, please. And we also foreseen that follow-up would be the same as for on-site inspections. We would issue a list of GMP deficiencies to the company within 6 weeks from the inspection. Then we would expect a CAPA within 4 weeks after receipt of the deficiencies, and an inspection report would be issued after reviewing the CAPAs after 6 weeks from receiving the CAPAs from the company. Next, please. Okay, so at this point, we had to understand, apart from us, which is normally from the inspectors and the company, inspected company, which is normally what we need during an inspection, there were additional things that we would need. First of all, appropriate networks, 3G, 4G, mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, web conferences, meeting applications, webcams, document sharing tools, and very important also broadband internet. So this was in the brainstorming at the beginning, trying to understand how to proceed, how to make this project possible. Next, please. Thanks. Also, we are very much aware of the confidentiality of the documents that are treated during the inspection. So how will we do document sharing? We have and we have been using a secure collaboration tool, and all the data which are transferred via this tool are physically located on a secure EDQM server. And the inspected company is granted access to a defined folder structure in order to upload documents before the inspection, but also in real time during the inspection. Next, please. Thanks. Equipment. I will go briefly. I will speak a little bit about the equipment that we find useful. Of course, it's the beginning. Some more additional equipment might be found, but this already, it worked extremely well, as I will show you. Very important is a cell phone camera. It's quite basic and easy to find. The only thing to be considered is that they have to be intrinsically safe mobile phone or tablets, but all companies, all API manufacturers, especially them, know this. Because it could be dangerous to go with normal phone in hazardous areas. There are many types of hardware available from different manufacturers, and on each of them, it's important to install different video conference applications. Next, please. This is absolutely our favorite tool that we discovered during the first inspections. It's a head-mounted device, which is also intrinsically safe, and the video conference applications can be installed, and it is highly efficient because, as you can see from the picture, this can be mounted on a helmet, and the person who is working with it shares his or her eyes with us. They have to learn a little bit how to move slowly with this. It's not easy, but a few days practice normally were sufficient. And we could really see everything like they were seeing. We were asking the operator to stop, to look around, to look up, down, to give us a general idea of the area we were entering. This was extremely efficient. In some other cases, we found a company used something different, which was still okay, even if we think that this tool it's the most efficient in this for this purpose. Next, please. Thanks. Important also is to have a good way of showing the documents, which can be some paper documents like logbooks or batch records, for example, and all the ones that are non-electronic, and therefore it's difficult to share or to upload or to share via shared screen via the web conference application. This is only an example, and a company or two used. But in other cases, another company chose to use something different with a stand and a lamp around to put some light on the documents, which were placed on a stand, and that worked well as well. Next, please. What to say about software applications? We had some recommendations from the EDQM IT department, and we were recommended some specific web conference applications which have the least security issues. Again, we are treating confidential data, so it's very important to be able that the connection is secure. It's always very important to have a second web conference application installed as a backup strategy in case there are problems with the primary one. In some cases, we saw that sometimes both applications were good. For other companies, one of them worked better than others for some reason. So it's always good to have two. And also inspectors could use at the same time both applications to work in parallel, as if we were during an on-site inspection. For both applications that are going to be used, it is always recommended to install the clients on the computers or smartphone, and prior to authorization by QA, it's very good to install them on computerized systems which will be used during the inspection, like for example in QC. This needs to be done under the supervision of QA and with the support of IT to make sure that this installation is completely secure. Next, please. During the pilot phase, we used some criteria to select the sites which could be eligible to be invited to participate. Of course, after the pilot, we might review these criteria. For sure, what we wanted is to go to see sites already inspected by EDQM, because we knew them, with no negative compliance information in databases. And ideally, these sites should be located in industrial areas to help with the communication infrastructure. Next, please. Between the end of last year and the beginning of this year, we have inspected 3 sites in India, and each inspection was lasting 5. In one case, we had 6 days, and approximately there were 6 hours per day. 6 hours because you have to take into consideration the time difference between Europe and India, 4.5 hours in this period. And it was, so we made sure to start very early here, and it was about 12:30 midday in India. And we tried to use the first part of the inspection day to do the tour, to make best usage of the light. Thank you. Next, please. So we had 3, so we could discuss together, gather together, and put down some thoughts about our first experience. So in all cases, we did connectivity tests, and it was successful and extremely useful. In some cases, some little problems were identified, nothing which could not be resolved by putting in place some corrective actions. In some cases, the operator needed some more training to be able, because it's difficult. You have to think that you need to deliver a steady image. So, but in a few days, everything was solved well. We used 2 web conference applications, and we used the second one when 2 teams needed to be set up for review of different documents in parallel. If one of the 2 doesn't work so well, we can also use the same application with a second meeting invitation. So also this worked very well. The document viewer was used for review of printed documents. The result was fine, quite good for typed text. Sometimes for handwritten ones, it was not so ideal, but it was not a problem, because when difficult, we could ask to take a picture and upload it in real time in our collaborative tool. So that was not a problem. And in all 3 inspections, we were able to identify deficiencies in areas which are in line with the deficiencies that we normally find during on-site inspections. Next, please. Some comments about our favorite tool, the head-mounted camera. So the connection was established in all areas visited. Sometimes there were short interruptions in parts of the clean area because there are small rooms and many walls. But overall, it worked okay. Sometimes there was the image was frozen for a little while, but with a little bit of patience, after a few minutes, that was solved. The video quality was very good. Sometimes it's difficult to look at screen views through the camera. So in this case, photographs could be taken, but most of the times with some more experience, after we understood that, the best thing is to install clients in all the computers we will view, like where SAP is installed, or the HPLC computers, and screen sharing, it works perfect. The sound quality is generally good. Sometimes if in noisy areas, in manufacturing areas, it could be difficult. But in this case, the operator could move to a quieter area and speak with us. Or, for example, a second person with a mobile phone could support. The camera battery of this head-mounted device, at least of the first versions of the device, lasts about 2.5 hours. This should be taken into account when planning site visits, for example, considering also backup batteries. But we've seen that newer models might have longer battery. So that also, it's the start of this, and I think also companies are working on that. Next, please. And here, I'm sure you will be interested in seeing these. There are some pictures which, apart from if you look at the frame and you don't think of the frame, you could think almost that they were taken during a tour, an inspection tour on site. You can see that the image, the quality was very good. We could also see some problems here in maintenance in the last one. So we were really satisfied with the result of this. Next, please. Here there are some examples of labels for you. We were in the warehouse, and we were, when we wanted to see like the same way we do it during on-site inspections, we were asking the operators to go close to the drums and the material and show us the labels, for example. And in some cases, when the light was not too good, we asked for pictures to be uploaded of these labels. Next, please. In this slide, it's what we found very interesting. This was by installing the clients of the web applications directly on the computers. We were interested in, for example, you can see LIMS. We could really go and see different data, different batches. And there is an example of an HPLC audit trail. And the quality is like looking on having it on your computer. And the data are safe because they are not transferred, but it's a screen sharing. So it is still under, it's in location, the location is at the company, and it's just the screen is shared. So there is no risk to have an impact, negative impact on the confidential data. Next, please. This is very interesting. One of our colleagues during one of the inspectors and inspection team has this small application on his computer, and you can see, well, maybe you can't see well, but I'll tell you that on the right you have a data transmission rate, upload, download, and we've seen that it should not be less than 100 kilobytes per second in order to ensure a steady footage. In the other one we had in the left side, you see it's about 73. In this case, you could have some frozen images, blurred images. But the reaching 100 kilobytes per second is not difficult when using broadband in meeting rooms. Sometimes with mobile hotspot, Wi-Fi manufacturing areas could be a bit more difficult, challenging. But on the whole, it's reachable. And even if it's not reached, still the quality of the image most of the time is acceptable. Next, please. We did some considerations after the first 3 inspections. So, of course, everybody is always asking, how do you verify data integrity if you are not on site? Well, the best way is, as I was saying before, to have to establish a control access to the computerized systems. In theory, the company could also retrieve data using a standalone computer, or a review of exported audit trails could be done, but this is not ideal. So the recommendation is that the company could, under the QA control and IT support, allow control access to computerized systems. It was very important and effective that inspectors could work in parallel when needed. And of course, subject matter experts need to be available for both inspectors. So we were agreeing the time slots in order not to overload the company with our requests. It was also very important to have one main facilitator at the firm site, who interacts with other colleagues, clarifies inspectors' demands, queries. Normally, this facilitator is in the meeting room, but he has all the situation under control. This was very, very useful. And also, talking of this collaborative tool that we use to share documents, a predefined structure of the folder, for example, topic-wise or day-wise, both, maybe also, it could be done. And with the sound naming of the uploaded files is very important. Next, please. We also saw that it's very useful that the company has a high performance scanner available, because, for example, for a batch record where many pages are there, and for the batch record review, this could be useful. The company, in all the cases, scanned the documents, uploaded on the secure server, and so the inspectors was able to review it and ask questions to the company. And with many pages, it's looking at it in real time with a document viewer, it can be cumbersome and not very effective. So it's always important to be able to scan documents quickly. In case there is bad coverage, or there are some time constraints, or there are some less critical areas to look at, the inspectors could also request the firm to take a video and upload it for review. It happened twice already for us. For example, it was in a microbiology laboratory. There was a gowning procedure. There was not much time needed. It was a small and not essential part to cover, so we asked for a video. And also, last time we had some issues, coverage issues, during the inspection of a backup warehouse, which was empty, but I mean, we wanted to see it. And we tried, and it was not possible to connect. And so we asked the company to have a video. Next, please. It seems everything it was perfect. No, there were also some challenges. There were some technical difficulties, depending on area connectivity, also the staff, the technical experience of the staff. And I think the main one is it is not easy to substitute, to replace certain elements of on-site inspections. For example, the element of surprise, body language interpretation. In person is always easier to understand things, to deliver a message. But okay, even with these limitations, we thought we could manage. Next, please. Advantages. These remote real-time inspections, they really provide a possibility to evaluate the GMP compliance of a firm when we cannot perform an on-site inspection, or, for example, when an on-site inspection is of lower priority. In this case, this would allow real-time interaction with the company. It's also important to consider that financial and human resources are saved, both for the EDQM and the firms. And there is no travel, so no carbon dioxide footprint, and therefore it's beneficial for environment. Next, please. So at the end of the day, what did we think? We think it is equivalent to on-site inspections. That clearly cannot be. But we were able to confirm previous GMP compliance, definitely. We thought that we could gather the elements to say if the company was still GMP compliant. Next, please. So this is still a pilot phase. So we need some more experience and some more data. But the first impression is promising. And it seems like this could be really a third pillar for the supervision of the GMP compliance of pharmaceutical manufacturer. It could be work and exist in parallel with a desktop assessment, which we already have, and on-site inspections. Next, please. And last but not least, I would like to thank my colleagues, Thomas and Sotirios. We inspected the first firms together, and we were very happy and excited to participate, to having the opportunity and possibility to participate together to this interesting project. And with this, I conclude. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I will be able and happy to hopefully able and happy to answer to your questions later. Thank you.